Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pablo podcast, where I like to talk about mostly random things and events that are going on around the world. So, before I start off my video, I would just like to thank all my supporters and the viewers that are liking, subscribing, and commenting and watching my videos most of all. And I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel and my videos. And yeah, thank you. So, the first topic of the day will be the weather. So, I know in my last video I talked about how bad the weather was, and I mean, it really was. Like, Texas was doing pretty bad. But now it's really weird because, especially like around where I live, like the weather just went from freezing to now this week. This week it became around 30s, and tomorrow's gonna be 50. So that's pretty crazy. But I'm pretty excited though, and a little weirded out at the same time because I'm just like, one day it's like there's barely any sun, and then now like the next day, the next week, there's like sun coming through my shades, and I'm like, what's all this sun coming from? But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty excited for it actually, because I've been wanting some nice weather, and it's been really cold. Like, not that cold. I want to say decently cold, but at some point, you get tired of it and just want to spend some time out in the sun. I've been wanting to go, like, take out my skateboard or go play some basketball or play some catch. It's like the things I miss doing, just like even if it's like 2 months. It just, I don't know, I feel like it gets away from me sometimes. Like the feeling of it. But like I said, the weather's doing pretty good right now, so that's good to hear, especially from a weatherman that's been telling you all week and all month that the basic stuff, freezing. So yeah, my next topic, I'm talking about the weather, was a short topic, but this topic is Shiba Inus. So I know last episode I talked about cats. Now we're moving on to dogs. And if you don't know what a Shiba Inu is, it is a type of Japanese dog that were originally used as guard dogs, which is cool. Like way back then, like in the times of like the emperors. So that's really cool. So yeah, they're just such cool dogs, man. They're just in general an amazing breed, and they're, like, in my opinion, above all breeds. Like, they are the superior breed of all dogs. Like, all other dogs are just, like, kind of basic, except for pugs. Pugs are, like, kind of like, they're there, but other dogs, they can't compare to a Shiba Inu, man. Yeah, they're just so superior, and I feel like it's been such a long time now since I've wanted one, but I can only imagine, and from what my dad keeps telling me, I think he just doesn't want me to get one at all. I mean, it's been like that for all pets, but I feel like I could kind of understand where his point of view is coming from, because thinking about just of taking care of him it's a little scary, but in my opinion it's worth it because they're such an amazing dog. And I've read up so much on them, and from what I know, they don't take much care. At some point during the year, they just shed, and then you don't really need to take them any showers, and yeah, I mean, they're such an amazing dog. Like, I can't stress it enough. Um, I was looking at some the other day for sale, and I could not believe my eyes when I saw the prices. And when I say I cannot believe my eyes when I saw the prices, I mean it genuinely, as in the fact that it no animal should not be this price. Some, even like the little ones, like the just born ones, or like the couple weeks old, that one of them could cost you like $3,400. I'm like, who put that price on a dog, man? That's the only thing. And I understand that they're a foreign dog, but then again, man, it's a dog, man. You can't put a price like that on a dog. I mean, and then like same with shoes. Like, there's shoes. There's this pair of shoes that came out like last year in like November, and I get that they were like a limited edition kind of shoe, but man, they were like thousands of dollars, and it's ridiculous, man. But then again, like, if I had the money, I definitely would. I definitely would buy one. But in the case that I have, which I don't have the money, and it's hard to think about, not having things like the money. And it's like, sometimes I guess you just wish you had a job, because then you could build up the money for one. But then, like I said, then again, a dog should not cost $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, man. Especially like a couple months old one. No, dog, not one animal. It's so weird because, like with all things, like most things, that like if you want quality, it's gonna be super hard for you to find something that's quality, but it's cheap. So I feel like that's kind of like a downer these days. With like, if you want something quality, then you're gonna have to like you're really gonna have to give your money for it. And I don't know, I just feel like back then, you know 80s, 90s, just in general, before the 2000s, just paid like 60 cents for like a soda, and then that's it. Now you have to pay like $1. Like, that's crazy. Um, but yeah, just to sum it up, they're just such an amazing dog. Um, Gosh, I wish I could show you guys a picture of one. Just search up Shiba Inu. Yeah, they're just such cool dogs. Like, it's to the point where like my sister, like half the people she follows on like her social media, because I don't have any, like half the social media of her social media is filled with mostly Shiba Inus and cats. Like, that's most of her feed. And and I don't blame her. I would just love to stare at them, just them, for hours. But yeah, they're such an amazing dog. That brings us to our next topic: cars. Yes, we're going from a dog to cars. And then again, with the price thing, cars are like, they cost so much money for no reason. And I don't mean that for like newer cars. I'm literally just talking about cars that are not even new. They're like from what's a year that was like not too long ago. Like 2011. A car from 2011 could be like 34 grand now. It's like it's not even that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean nowadays like with cars that are just technology based, I would understand for that. But then again, why would you add so many features to a car and make it look so cool and then basically make it impossible to buy it? Like that's something I don't understand with just a lot of products. But yeah, cars are such like a cool thing for me, and especially in the summertime when there's no snow and it's not raining. My dad will just go out and fix the car. Like he'll find like the slightest thing wrong, and then he'll like, that's it, I'm gonna go fix it. And then and I just like going with him just to watch him fix it. It's so cool. Like taking the parts out and like, you know, I can't make the sound effect. I don't know how to do that, but with the wrench, I love doing that. Just like, can I unscrew that? But yeah, that's something I really like about cars, like just fixing them. And then just the way cars look and sound, especially what they sound like. I love how cars sound. Like especially race cars when they're like revving up, they're like you know. I love that. I love that sound. And there's a lot of games these days that are so, what's the right word? There are a lot of car games these days that are so, in my opinion, for a lack of a better word, advanced that they're just so real. And then there's so much equipment that goes with it. Like there's an actual driving wheel, there's, the pedals, the stick shift and everything, and the games themselves, they're like driving a real car, like the first person kind of thing, and there's just so many cool things like that sometimes, back to the money issue, you wish you had the money for it, but what you don't, so you just end up sitting there for hours watching some guy drive around a car for like an hour or so. But it's cool. Like, I think it's cool of people to do that, you know? And, like, I wouldn't really say nice of them because I know they just like doing it just for fun, but I think it's generosity without them making it like that for the people that can't buy the games or the systems or the equipment to do those kinds of things, to watch those things. And I don't know, I just really like just watching those videos, and just cars in general. They're just so cool, especially when you see like one that has like, it kind of like has like something custom on it. So like, what's an example? Like, say you see a car and like the car, but there you see something that's like not a part of it. Or like you see like a lot of Jeeps these days, like they'll add like these extra like I don't know what they're called. They're like these like big metal bar bumpers, and like they just make them seem so kind of scary and cool at the same time. And then they're like, vroom, and they just pull up next to your car, and you're like, wow. I was like, that's cool. But no, yeah, cars are cool. I like cars. Um, Speaking of video games, I love video games. I just can't afford the consoles for them. But then that's the great thing about online games. Because then it's like, okay, so this game's online. I don't have to buy it. Maybe I have to download it, but that's it, and then like there's a lot of, I don't want to get too technical here, but there's like a lot of gamers that like, oh my gosh, what's the word? I have a thesaurus here. Give me a second. For lack of a better word, man. Sorry about that. I pressed the space bar and then with the book and then had to record. But just for time's sake, for not having me have to waste like 30 minutes looking for the word. Because that's how I am. That's like one of the main reasons I don't like dictionaries and that stuff. That's like last resort when I have the time. Or like I don't have any sort of technology that can help me. That's totally the last resort. But just for lack of a better word, as I was talking about, gamers just have so much. Let's just use intelligence. I can't find the right word, but intelligence. They have so much intelligence that some of them end up making games so that people can play them just to download them, and then that's it. Like I know at least 2 games that you can just download and then that's it. And they're well-made games. And they're popular, so that's a big thing. Like if the game is popular, easy to get, everyone's gonna get it. One game I can name, Among Us. I know so many people that play that game. At least my whole class plays that game, excluding me, because I can't download anything. But just watching people play, then again, like back to like watching people play games, it's cool because it's even though you can't play them, it's still entertaining. It's almost like it's very immersive at some point. And I think that's what makes a YouTuber or just anyone that makes content someone who can make things, who can make content that is immersive, that is funny, that is worth being something that you can show others. There's a large truck out there that's beeping really loud right now. I don't know if you guys heard that, but anyways, yeah, I mean, and just from my experience, I love games. Like I have a Sega system. I asked for a Sega Genesis, which is a type of like retro old game system that I thought was really cool, and my parents bought it for me for Christmas. And it's just so cool because it actually came with pre games that are already put into the system. So like I don't have to like get like the cartridges or anything. So like usually a lot of the games are like I've never heard of, or like they're just really hard, and I can't find the manual book for the game. So there's only like a couple of games I'll play, but then there's like these really cool games that like even then I don't know how to play. I'm gonna find out because they're really cool. Like there's Sonic. There's this other game. I already forgot what it's called. And then there's also Mortal Kombat. There's Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. I would say the number 1 or 2 is the easier one because either it's 1 or 3. I'm pretty sure it's 3. 3 is like the hardest one. Like I can't even get past like the first person, but that's the fun of it. You just keep playing it over and over again, and then sooner or later you're having fun while you're trying to figure out how to get past that first level. You're just like, oh well, I can get past this first guy. Well, this is fun. But that's what brings me to games that are like where you can play with other people, because that's another thing I think that makes a game really fun is when it can be multiplayer. So a couple games I have in mind is Club Penguin. I love Club Penguin. I play that game like at least once or twice a week. That's like, I love being there. There's like so many like activities and like theme parties and like so many different things that you can do on there, and it's such a fun thing. Like when it was a thing, still a thing that Disney had going. I'm pretty sure is between the years 2010 and 2013. It was like the coolest thing ever. I couldn't actually play it online. I didn't know it was a thing online. But my sister and I had the game for the DS, so I was like, I don't remember playing it on the DS, but I know I probably was playing it a lot on the DS. And speaking of the DS, a game that I'll like, well, probably one of the only other games that I'll play on there, that I'll still play on there, is Mario Kart, man. That's so fun. Probably the funnest part is like drifting. It's like the coolest thing. And then when you're first place, but then again, it's kind of hard, depending if all the other AI characters are like super rude. But yeah, it's a really fun game. And then there's also other games like Kirby and other stuff. But yeah, I find those things really fun because those are like the things where you get to play with others and you're not just like the only one playing it. And that's where I feel like some people get like teased about because they don't have the game and all their other friends are playing it. And then again, that's where it comes in, where like, do you have to buy the game, or like, can you just download it? And then there's other things, is the game appropriate? Is it, for kids? Do they swear? What happens in the game? But I think that's what makes games like Club Penguin and other games that are multiplayer good games, because they're clean. If anyone tries to swear, which you can't, you can report them. It's like a really like safe environment kind of thing. So that's another thing about games. Like, if it's something where like there's guns and other things like that, that's like, a lot of parents won't let their kids play that because you don't want your kids thinking about guns all the time. So that's something I think is really important when you're thinking about making a game or like just choosing a game for like you and your friends to play, because like I said, like most of the things I've said, is it multiplayer, is it clean, are there like, guns and stuff, like, and then think about where will your friends be able to play it with you, and then will they enjoy it? That's just something I think is something to think about, just to make people a little more inclusive. But enough of that. Let's talk about food now. I love food. I'll eat it any time of the day. Well, I used to. Now I've been trying to like keep down on how much I'm eating a day. So sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, I feel hungry, but then again, am I really hungry? And then in that time span of like 5 minutes, while I'm thinking about that, I'm already grabbing something to eat and eating something while I'm thinking about should I be eating or not. But that's the thing about food, like the temptations of eating, even when you don't feel hungry. Like, is it because you're stressed, or you're just mad, or just because it's something you do all the time and now sometimes you just feel like it? And I don't know, but I just feel like that's the great thing about food, because when you get the like urge to go eat something, there's always something like healthy to eat. And I feel like that's like I just said, the great thing about food, because people have made food so, like, foods that are usually unhealthy for you, like cookies and like pastries that you buy from like the store. Like, now people are like making them healthier for you, which sometimes I believe, but other times it's like from the same brand that made you gain 5 pounds in like 1 minute because you were eating like the whole box of them, and now they're saying that they're vegan. So maybe you should check first before you buy it and then eat the whole box and then realize that nothing changed. So, oh, but I mean, then again, things like burgers, they're making them out of plants and stuff, and I don't know. That part's like, what who thought about that? Like, what was going through that person's head when they thought, you know what, maybe we should make plants? Or I'm sorry, maybe we should make burgers out of plants. And then again, like, what plants are they using? Like, are they using like lettuce and stuff like that, or are they just going in their backyards and grabbing grass and then just putting it in a mixer, turning it brown, and then like there's a burger? But that's the thing. Like, I feel like that wouldn't be the case. But if that is ever the case, I feel like maybe it's healthy. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever have the courage or step up to try something like that. I don't think my mom would let me anyways, but when I'm an older child and I'm moving on in the world, maybe I'll try something like that. Maybe just maybe. But yeah, one of my favorite foods, though. Let's talk about my favorite foods. Gotta talk about that. I love cereal. I think I eat that every day. Yeah, I ate it today. I ate it yesterday. Yeah, I basically eat it like every day. And I'd say like my favorite cereals. I have a couple actually. That's the thing about cereal. Like when you like one thing, but then you see a cereal made out of your favorite flavor, but then there's something that you see that is usually made out of your favorite flavor, but then they make it into something else that's really good. And then it's like, just at this point, just buy it anyways. I don't know. But like I said, with everything else, that's the great thing about cereal because there's so many varieties. And just with burgers, they're becoming healthy. And like Cheerios, I remember seeing an ad for Cheerios somewhere. I think it was for the Super Bowl. They said they were going to start making the Cheerios, like the, what are they called? Like the little separate ones on their own. Little Cheerios. They're going to make them heart-shaped because they're good for your heart. So what I think I remember that means is they're cholesterol-free. But yeah, I mean, and then there's things where there's the regular version where you think there's a regular version, but then your mom brings home what it says is the original, and then it's like, what is this? And it's like, this is the original. And so you try it, and then you find out that there's literally nothing on the Cheerios, and then you realize why those are the original, because there's no honey on them. But I feel like for things like that, I mean, it makes sense. People have preferences. Some people may like Cheerios, but they don't like the honey that they put on them. And then some people, they like the Cheerios, but they'd prefer it in their flavor. So then they read my mind. Cheerios read my mind, and then they made the chocolate Cheerios. So it's another example. But and I'm gonna say it again. That's like the great thing about cereal, because there's so many varieties. And not only is there so many varieties, but in those separate varieties, there's more varieties. And it just keeps going. Like Lucky Charms. And then, or no, that's not a good one. Cheerios. Let's just keep going with Cheerios. See, there's like Cheerios. And then there's the chocolate Cheerios. And then, I don't know if this is actually a thing. And then there's like Cheerios sugar-free. And then there's like the sugar-free Cheerios, chocolate sugar-free Cheerios that are with, I don't know, with real, what's it called? Cocoa. With real cocoa, and then there's more varieties inside of that. And I don't know, I just feel like that's the best thing about just food in general. And a lot of things too. Like back to cars. Like, you'll have one car. And then there's like, for example, I don't know, I'm just gonna choose a random car. Honda. Let's go with the Honda Civic. Let's go with Honda Civic. There's like Honda Civic S. There's like the sport version. And then there's like the Honda Civic two-wheel drive, and then there's a four-wheel drive, and then there's an all-wheel drive, which I still don't understand because a car has four wheels, and then what is all-wheel drive? But anyways, and then there's a limited edition four-wheel drive sport edition, and then like the list goes on. And then in just one car, there's like 10 different versions. And then like one of those versions, there's like 3 other versions. And then just back to everything else in this world, there are so many varieties at this point. I think it's just made everyone's life a little easier. And yeah, and I feel like that's the good thing about life, because there's different varieties of things. Which brings us to our next topic, which is movies. I love movies. Everyone loves movies. I hope there's no one that doesn't like movies, because that'd be a hard conversation to have. But let's talk about movies I like. Now, before I get into the movies that I like, I gotta explain what makes a good movie for me. So, in my opinion, what makes a good movie is the quality, the how long it is. Like if it's 3 hours but it's quality made, if there's CGI in it and it's quality made, I'll watch it. But if it's 3 hours and it was made on a $300 budget, I probably would not watch it. But, that's the good thing about movies these days. Like, people have so much money now that they can just make a movie. And then, it's amazing. With just enough money, you can make such a great movie. And then again, there's no shame on the DC universe, but Batman and the whole Justice League, they're cool and all, but when they made the Justice League movies, I feel like they could have done a little better. It was quality made. I mean, I just feel like everything could have been a little better. But then again, then there's, people like Marvel Studios that just make me cry for literally no reason, even though I know in my head they're gonna plot twist something at the end of the credits. So that's a great thing. That's what makes a good movie, in my opinion. Now down to some movies that I like personally. It's hard to name any movies individually. I can name a couple. Like Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. And then Avengers, all the movies. Except for Civil War. Well, Civil War was good. It's just Iron Man should have won. And then just action movies in general. I love. When then there's fighting and there's martial arts involved. I love that stuff. So cool. And then when I really focused in on Bruce Lee, that was that's the pinnacle of why I like martial arts movies. Because recently I watched, about last week, I watched a movie of Bruce Lee's called Enter the Dragon. That was just that. And for lack of sound effects, I'm gonna use my microphone and what I have here. One of the best movies I've ever seen. And when I say that, I don't mean it lightly. I mean it very heavily. And because just the way, even if something that he did didn't look real, just his acting skills they're just so good. And I feel like the thing about the movies in the 70s in that time were a little off, but any movie that he was in, that's just So good, I feel like I could watch a whole marathon of all his movies in one day. Like, they're that good. And, especially, like, the newer action movies, like Ip Man, with, Donnie Yen. He's an amazing actor and director and a martial artist. That's, like, amazing, too. Because he portrays an amazing, legendary master of martial arts that actually trained Bruce Lee. And, he did a really good job of it. And even though, like, some things were changing, like, were not real, just the acting and the direction that he had for everything was really good. And that's I feel like if you have a good director, someone who knows what he's doing, who can get the actors in the moment, that's what brings a good movie together. Once you can do that, then just go ahead and make a whole franchise out of it. Just like Star Wars, you bring out one amazing actor, give him a son, put one line, now you have a whole franchise out of the whole thing. One scene, I'm your father, boom, you have a whole franchise there. Merch, everything. People are saying it, no one will ever forget that. It's like, and then, like, back to Bruce Lee, like, he says one thing, it's like a quote, like someone's writing that down and, like, posting it on some website that he has, for inspirational quotes that Bruce Lee has, like, and, one thing, just, he just has to say one word, and everyone's, like, clapping and, like, agreeing, like, it could be anything. Like, I'll give you one example. One thing he said, and it wasn't in a movie, but I said this in an interview. I just love hearing him say, it's like, be like Walter. Just that. Just hearing him say that, someone could make a whole book, a whole movie out of that. People have already done that. And it's like, I don't know. I just like seeing things like that happen. But, yeah. Other movies I love. Ghibli. Studio Ghibli. If you have not heard of them, maybe you have heard of Totoro, or My Neighbor Totoro, or Ponyo, or Spirited Away. If you have heard of any of those movies, the people that made those movies are called Studio Ghibli, spelled Ghibli. Please go search them up, watch their movies. They are amazing. I love their movies. Yes, they have made all their movies are amazing. And then the great thing about them is that not only is, like, the animation and the direction amazing, they use, like, famous actors for the movies, for the voiceovers. So you combine a great actor, great animation, and then like, great direction. Put that all you just have a whole list of 25 movies, and you can keep doing it. You just base it off of, like, another thing. Like, their biggest things is, like, magic and, like witches and, like, wizards and stuff like that. And they released a movie recently, and it's so good. And it's about, like, witches, but it's, like, not even that based off. It's just, like, it could just be, like, the smallest side thing, and it's still a good movie. And yeah, that's just like one thing I really like about movies, along with everything else. And so that looks like that is going to wrap up our video. If you like the video, please leave a like, please subscribe, please let me know what you thought in the comments. Please let me know if you guys have any topics you guys would like me to talk about, any suggestions. Like I said, just let me know in the comment section. Whatever day you're listening to, if it's Monday, Saturday, Wednesday, whatever day, please just, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you stay to the end, because really great time, and I hope you guys had a great time, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.